Talk to your healthcare provider about your questions to help make a decision that's right for you. GetVaccineAnswers.org has the latest information to help you decide. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
For generations, we've worked the land. We've faced hardships and uncertainty before, but you can depend on Florida's farmers. We will continue to rise before dawn and harvest our crops, ensuring that Florida-grown fruits and vegetables are in your stores and that your family is fed. We are providers for our families and yours. We're Florida's farmers, and we're in this together.
The main thing that hinders people from keeping bees, apart from allergies and bee stings, is the cost of buying bees. But what if you could catch a swarm and get honeybees for free? It's possible. There are two methods: chasing a swarm of bees or letting the swarm come to you. There are multiple things you can do with a swarm. The first option is to keep them as your own bees. Some people also rent their bees out for pollination. Farmers will pay a fee for you to place some of your bees on their land to help with their crops. And when all else fails, you can always keep them around for the honey that they will produce for that season, but don't do anything special in order to keep them. Just give them a home while they want it, basically. You'll need to mark the queen and put a queen excluder on the outside of the hive for a few weeks to make sure she doesn't leave once you've caught the bees. This is a great way to get as many hives started as you can without incurring much expense. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high of 80 to 82, then mild this evening with a clear moonlit sky and a low 63 to 66. Friday will be mostly sunny and warm, high on Friday 81 to 83, then mostly cloudy Saturday, high 83 to 85, and partly cloudy on Sunday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Just in case you don't know, there's a real Italian bakery in Ocala. The name is the Magnolia Bakery. Cannolis and traditional Italian pastries, and they're famous. Italian cheesecake too. And they have hot and cold lunch Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 3. When you spend $8, you get free pizza dough or bread. So call your order in ahead and save time. Call 352-207-2667. Magnolia Bakery on North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala. 352-207-2667. Merry Christmas and God bless.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on Thursday. This is hour number 3 of the show. I am your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport here in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida, on a beautiful, sunny Florida day. A day like today is the reason we're the Sunshine State. The sun may shine more days of the year in Arizona than it does in Florida, but it's not any better than this. The Sunshine State, it's living up to its name today. I'm looking out at a couple Learjets just basking in the sun. Some of the city personnel from the airport out in the grassy area in between the runways shooting off incendiary devices to scare off the birds. Because birds are no good at the airport. No good. So they're keeping the runway area clear of flocks of birds because they're not good for the airport. They're not good. So the things I get to see here at the airport. Speaking of the airport, Delta in the news today. Delta Airlines in the news today for kicking a man off a flight. Florida man, Cape Coral man. He was put off a flight at Fort Lauderdale Airport yesterday and banned from the airline because of objections of flight attendants. Adam Jean, a building contractor, was asked to leave the plane. He was escorted off the plane for the mask he was wearing. He refused to take it off and put on a different mask, and so they throw him off the plane. He's been wearing this style of mask since June of 2020. He said he's been taking 20 different airline flights and only been asked to leave once before. He was escorted off a plane once before a Delta flight 3 weeks ago, coming back from Minneapolis, headed toward Tortuga. Well, Wednesday morning he was wearing his mask, and he was asked to remove himself from the flight. He said, I have no objection. He said, I have an objection. It's utter nonsense. There's no human benefit to what we're doing. It's doing much more harm than good. He also says there are studies showing that masks are helping delay social development of children. He boarded the flight with plans to fly into Dulles Airport in Washington. However, after being seated, he was approached by another attendant who objected to his holiday red mask. I tried to wear my mask on the plane, but they wouldn't let me. I don't think they're in this Christmas spirit. Miss Claus would love my mask. What kind of mask was he wearing? He had on a red lady's thong as his mask. If you go look at the pictures, it was covering his nose and his mouth. I mean, the thong part hung a little below his chin, but he was covered up. His nose and mouth was covered up. It was wrapped around his ears. It was doing all that a mask should do. Yeah, I know it was hanging a little loose and everything, but all these masks you wear, the paper mask you wear and all, when they make that little U on the side of your cheek, they're letting air and all in and out. So they're not doing their job effectively either. I know he was trying to cause an incident and make a statement that, masks are stupid. I get that. But he was complying. But the flight attendant didn't like it. And that's the problem with the airline industry. Ever since 9/11, it's become a police state. And we've given power to flight attendants. Now, don't get me wrong, flight attendants provide a great service up in the air. They make the flight as comfortable as possible. They offer amenities such as, those wonderful bags of peanuts and pretzels. They're able to pour a half can of Coke into a plastic cup with ice and give it to you without spilling it on you as turbulence is rocking the plane. They're able to still rock polyester uniforms and make them look somewhat presentable in a day and age where polyester is so 1970s. The guy, his face was covered, just as it required by the federal mandate that is in effect on planes. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. But somebody on the Delta plane got butt hurt. You going to throw everybody off that's wearing a thong on that flight? No, you're not, because you'd throw a lot of people off, including some of those flight attendants probably. Who are you to say he was wearing the thong in the wrong place? Personal freedoms, right? Isn't that what y'all want? Personal freedoms. Guy's nose was covered. His mouth was covered. He was meeting all the criteria of wearing a mask. I mean, you threw him off the plane? Sounds like a lawsuit. For the people. Call that guy. Oh, wait, you weren't injured. He's not going to take your case. He only worries about if he can get compensation for you being injured so he can make money off what you make as a employee so he can sue your, to get all your back pay and everything so he can get more money. But the guy was making a point, and Delta didn't like it. And here's the thing. They let him check in. You got to go up to the counter. You got to check in. You got to go past the same flight attendants or ticket takers. Some of them, they're seeing it. Then he gets on the plane. You walk right by the flight attendants. All of them are standing at the front of the plane. You walk right by them. They could have stopped him there and said, sir, you got to have on a real mask. Can't have that mask on before you come on the plane. No, they let him get situated, luggage put in the overhead compartment, sitting down, and then they embarrass him in front of everybody Sir, you're wearing panties. You got to take those off or you got to get off the plane. That's not an approved mask by Delta. Who the hell is Delta to say what's an approved mask? You know, these airline companies think that they have total control. It's a police state. And if you argue with them, they call the police, and they will lie. I've literally watched in the airport flight attendants lie to police about what took place on a plane. I was coming back from a trip from Vegas, and a flight attendant felt like the guy that, as she walked by, the guy had tapped her on the rear end. He didn't. The 5-year-old in the seat behind him did it. But when she turned around mad, the 5-year-old clammed up. He got scared, didn't say anything. Nobody saw the 5-year-old do it except for me and another lady that was sitting right there. She gets on the guy for doing it, gets the captain involved. They removed the guy from the plane. We went off the plane too. What are y'all doing? I go, she's wrong. That didn't happen. She goes, the guy slapped me on the butt, and I turned around and saw his hand moving away from my butt. No, you didn't. You walked 3 steps and turned around and said, who just did that? And walked over to that guy because you didn't think a 5-year-old would do it. They were going to throw this guy off the plane because a flight attendant was lying about what she saw, about what happened to her. Because she was sure he did it, so whatever it took to get him off the plane. It's ridiculous how much power flight attendants think they have. And are allowed to have, by the way. And this is just another example of it. Every criteria was met with this. But the Delta flight attendant got butthurt and threw the guy off the plane. And now Delta's banned him from ever using their airline again. Good for him. He doesn't have to fly that carrier anymore. Maybe you should not fly Delta. Maybe all of us should stop flying Delta. Or we should all show up with pink thongs on, covering our face. One or the other. We're going to take a break. Come back. Right after this timeout, you're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or